Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the world of rare valuable, the wheat penny or wheat cent. It carried more than just a monetary value, it symbolized resilience, unity, and national pride. Today we trace the story of the Liberty wheat pennies from 1941, 1944, 1945, and 1949, 4 years that witnessed great upheaval and transformation in the United States and the world. The first step, 1941 Lincoln wheat penny stands as a snapshot of a nation on the brink of global transformation. In this story, we follow the journey of this iconic coin, its creation, its purpose, and its lasting legacy. The coin we know as the wheat penny began its journey in 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than an allegorical design. Designed by Lithuanian-American sculptor Victor David Brenner, the coin's obverse features a right-facing profile of Lincoln, alongside 3 inscriptions: "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to his left, and the date, 1941. To the right, the reverse of the coin showcases 2 stylized wheat stalks, curving inward to frame the denomination, 1 cent United States of America, and at the top, the national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many. The year 1941 was a pivotal moment in U.S. history. Europe had already been engulfed in World War II for 2 years, and Japan's ambitions in the Pacific were growing ever more aggressive. America remained officially neutral but not idle. On December 7, 1941, everything changed. The attack on Pearl Harbor propelled the United States into global conflict. The 1941 Lincoln wheat penny was minted before the U.S. entered World War II, but circulated widely during the war years. It became, in many ways, the last peacetime penny and the first to witness America's transformation into a wartime superpower. The 1941 wheat penny was struck at 3 mints across the country. Total mintage 887,018,000 coins. These coins bear no mint mark beneath the date and were the most widely circulated. Total mintage 128,700,000 coins. The D mark below the date indicates their Rocky Mountain origins. Total mintage 92,360,000 coins with the S mint mark. These coins journeyed from California to the western states and Pacific trade routes. Combined, over 1.1 billion 1941 pennies were minted, making it one of the highest mintage years in wheat penny history. These coins were circulated in all 48 states and U.S. territories, from urban New York to rural Kansas, from war industries in Michigan to Navy yards in Hawaii. Soldiers carried them to training camps. Children saved them in penny banks. Shopkeepers used them to make change during the Great Depression's lingering end. The 1941 penny retained its classic pre-war composition, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc. This copper-based formula had been in use since 1864, but it would soon change. By 1943, with copper needed for ammunition and electronics, the mint switched to zinc-coated steel for a year. But in 1941, the penny still held the traditional reddish-brown hue of pure American copper. Interestingly, this composition means that 1941 pennies, even when aged, carry a richness and tone unmatched by later wartime cents. In circulation, the 1941 wheat penny was ubiquitous. You would have used it to buy a loaf of bread around 5 cents, a newspaper 2 to 3 cents, a single ride on a streetcar. These coins were heavily used, showing visible signs of wear. Flattened wheat stalks, smoothed edges, dark, oxidized patinas. Yet, each coin tells a story. A 1941 penny might have bought supplies for a family rationing during World War II, passed through a soldier's hand before deployment, landed in a 10-year-old's hand as their weekly allowance. In this way, circulated 1941 pennies are historical artifacts of American life before, during, and after the war. Uncirculated or mint state 1941 wheat pennies are rare but highly valued. These are coins that never entered public circulation, were stored immediately after minting, retained full original luster and detail in grading terms: MS62, MS63, minor flaws, good shine MS64 to MS65, sharper strike, minimal marks MS66, and above superb quality. Scarce and collectible, high-grade uncirculated examples, especially with full red coloration, can command significant prices among collectors, particularly coins from San Francisco or Denver mints, which are scarcer. In mint condition, red road coins are the most desirable, showing the vibrant copper sheen as minted. Red brown RB and brown BN grades are less valuable but still collectible. While most 1941 pennies were struck cleanly, some error varieties exist. Doubled, die obverse DDO, doubling on the date or letters, repunched, mint marks RPM, especially on Denver and San Francisco issues, off-center strikes or clipped planche 8s. These errors can significantly raise the coin's value and are sought after by specialists. The 1941 Lincoln wheat penny remains a cornerstone of U.S. numismatics. It's often the first coin in a young collector's folder, a gateway to deeper interest in American history, a reminder of the people, places, and events of a crucial era. In circulated condition, these coins are common and affordable, usually worth between 5 cents and 25 cents. but in uncirculated grades, or with unique errors, they can be worth $10, $50, or even more. Yet beyond price, their value is symbolic, a piece of America. From a time when everything was changing and the world watched to see how the nation would respond. The 1941 Liberty Wheat penny is more than copper. It's a story pressed into metal, a snapshot of a nation on the edge of war, but full of determination. Passed from hand to hand, across miles and generations, it lives on. In your pocket change, your grandfather's drawer, or a dusty coin jar, you might find one. And when you do, hold it close, for you're holding a piece of history. The next step, 1944, Liberty Wheat penny was minted not just for commerce, but as a quiet testament to a nation's resilience and innovation. Small, copper, and humble, yet it carried the weight of a global conflict and the hopes of a generation. This is the story of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat cent, its origins, its journey, and its legacy. First struck in 1909. The Lincoln Wheat penny featured the profile of Abraham Lincoln to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. The obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, bore Lincoln's bust with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" above liberty to the left, and the date 1944 to the right. The reverse held to sheaves of wheat, curved in an embrace around 1 cent United States of America, with E pluribus unum proudly above. This reverse design, used from 1909 to 1958, gave the coin its common name, the wheat penny. In 1944, the world was in flames. The Allies stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day, June 6. In the Pacific, the U.S. fought fiercely across island chains toward Japan. On the home front, Americans worked tirelessly in factories, schools, and homes, all mobilized for total war. Even the U.S. Mint adapted. In 1943, pennies were made from zinc-coated steel to preserve copper for ammunition and wiring. But the public disliked the steel since they rusted, jammed vending machines, and were easily confused with dimes. So in 1944, the mint returned to copper, but this time, they used an unexpected source. The 1944 penny was unlike any before. It was made from recycled wartime brass shell casings, gathered from military training grounds and battlefields. These were melted down and repurposed to mint the nation's most circulated coin. The alloy was 95% copper, 5% zinc, not tin, as before. These are often referred to as shell case cents, coins quite literally made from the remains of war. Their color varies slightly, often showing a lighter golden hue compared to earlier pennies, though most have darkened with age. The 1944 wheat penny had one of the highest mintages of any U.S. coin, reflecting the booming wartime economy and demand for small change. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, 1,435,400,000 coins, the largest number ever struck in a single year at the time. Denver Mint D, 430,578,000 coins. San Francisco Mint S, 282,760,000 coins in total. Nearly 2.15 billion 1944 wheat pennies were produced. These coins flowed across every corner of the U.S. and beyond. In Washington, D.C., they paid for war bonds. In California, they helped fund military shipyards. In Europe, they jingled in the pockets of American GIs during the liberation of France. The 1944 wheat penny was born to circulate quickly, widely, and constantly. In everyday life, it was used to buy postage, 3 cents for a letter, pay for a subway ride, collect savings in war bond drives, drop into church offering plates or Red Cross tins. These coins often show heavy wear. Smoothed surfaces, faded wheat, stalks darkened or green-tinged patoonas due to oxidation, but every circulated 1944 penny carries a story. It may have passed through a soldier's hand in England, or bought coffee for a factory worker on a cold Chicago morning, or helped a child collect their first savings during wartime austerity. Despite their enormous numbers, uncirculated 1944 wheat pennies, also known as mint state, are far less common today. A true mint state MS coin shows no wear from circulation, retains full original luster, has crisp detail in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks, is often graded on a 70-point scale. MS62, MS63, decent strike. Minor marks, MS64 to MS65, strong eye appeal. Light abrasions, MS66 and above, rare, especially for red designation. Collectors prize coins by color. Road red, bright coppery color as struck. Most valuable RB, red-brown, some toning. Still attractive BN brown, fully toned, less value, but still historic. An MS66 red 1944D or 1944 S cent can fetch $50 to $200 plus, depending on market trends. Most 1944 wheat pennies are standard, but a few rare varieties exist. 1944 steel penny, ultra rare. A few steel blanks from 1943 accidentally used, only dozens exist. Value can exceed $100,000. 1944 DS, over mint mark, Denver Mint mark punched over a San Francisco one. Doubled dies, doubling of the date or lettering. These rare errors are numismatic gold, commanding enormous premiums from collectors. The 1944 Liberty Wheat penny is a symbol not just of money, but of a moment. It's a coin made from bullets and brass, from sacrifice and service. It reminds us that even in wartime, a nation carried on minting pennies while building planes, saving metal but never skimping on purpose, telling its story in copper, wheat, and Lincoln's gaze today. They remain a common starting point for coin collectors, a touchstone of World War II history, a living artifact from America's defining century. The 1944 wheat penny traveled far, through war zones and farm towns, factories and 5 and dimes. It was copper, but it was also courage, small but full of story. And in a world that often forgets the value of a single cent, it remains a reminder that even the smallest coin can carry the greatest weight. The 1940 Liberty Wheat Penny, or formerly known as the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Cent, a coin that represents not just a monetary unit, but a snapshot of American history during a pivotal time. The year was 1940. The world was on the brink of global conflict as World War II raged in Europe. Although the United States had not yet entered the war, tensions were rising, and preparations were underway. Domestically, America was emerging from the Great Depression under President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal policies. Amidst this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued to strike coins that carried strong symbols of American identity. Among them, the Lincoln Wheat Penny stood tall, a small but enduring tribute to President Abraham Lincoln and the nation's core values. First minted in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was the first US coin to feature the portrait of a real person. The obverse, or front of the coin, was designed by Victor David Brenner, a Lithuanian-born sculptor, a profile of Abraham Lincoln. Facing right, the inscriptions include, "In God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left of Lincoln, the date, 1940 on the right. No mint mark indicates it was struck in Philadelphia. Otherwise, a small DOS appears for Denver or San Francisco respectively. Two stylized wheat stalks curve along the left and right edges, hence the name Wheat Penny. The inscriptions read, 1 cent United States of America e pluribus unum, Latin for out of many. This design remained in circulation until 1958. After which the wheat ears were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. In 1940, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck in 3 different U.S. mint facilities. Philadelphia, no mint mark mintage, approx 586,810,000 mintage, approx 81,390. San Francisco mint mark mintage, approx 112,940,000. This gives us a total mintage of nearly 781 million coins for 1940, making it a common date among Lincoln wheat cents. These pennies were released into general circulation across all 48 states, and they remained in daily use for decades. Their copper content and iconic design made them a staple of American pocket change. Composition: 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc. Weight: 3.11 grams. Diameter: 19.05 millimeters, 0.75 inches. Edge: plain. Designer: Victor D. Brenner. It's important to note that the composition of US pennies changed in 1943, when copper was needed for the war effort, and steel cents were produced. But in 1940, the coin still bore the traditional bronze composition. A 1940 penny found in circulation today will likely be worn, discolored, and shows smoothing of Lincoln's features and the wheat stalks. Despite this, it remains a cherished collectible for new numismatists. Common grading categories for circulated coins: good G, date, readable. Major features: worn. Fine F. Moderate detail remains. Very fine VF. Lincoln's hair and cheekbones show some detail. Extremely fine EFXF. Sharp features: minimal wear. Uncirculated or mint state MS coins are those that never entered general use. These coins retain their original luster and detail, making them highly collectible. Ms. 60 MS70 grading scale is used. MS60 no wear, but with noticeable bag marks. MS65 gem uncirculated brilliant luster. Few marks. J MS67 plus rare and highly valuable, especially in red road color. Color classification is also important. BN brown. Most circulated coins are B red brown, partial red luster, road red, brilliant. Original mint color most desirable because of the high mintage. The 1940 wheat penny is not rare, but condition and mint mark matter. Circulated examples, typically worth 5 cents to 50 cents uncirculated. MS63 MS65 road, $3 to $1.20 high-grade road examples. MS67 plus with full luster. Philadelphia, up to $250 plus. Denver and San Francisco slightly higher due to lower population in top grades. Exceptional coins, certified by PCGS or NGC, can fetch much more at auction. The coins circulated widely across the continental United States, and many were exported to U.S. territories and allied nations during wartime aid programs. Today, 1940 Lincoln cents are found globally in collections and old coin jars alike. Key geographic mints: Philadelphia East Coast hub, Denver serving Midwest and Mountain states, San Francisco Western U.S. and Pacific. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of American stability, resilience, and unity in uncertain times. It honors a president who preserved the Union and remains a tangible piece of everyday history, whether discovered in a dusty attic box or purchased from a collector's showcase. This humble cent connects us with the people, places, and spirit of America in the early 20th century. So, the next time you hold a 1940 wheat penny, take a moment to appreciate the journey it has traveled from the mint presses of a pre-war America to your own hands today. The last step, 1945 Liberty wheat penny, is not just a coin, it's a snapshot of a year that changed the world. Forged in the final fires of the Second World War, it circulated through a nation celebrating peace and grappling with loss. This is the untold story of the 1945 wheat cent, its metal, its people, its passage through time. The Lincoln wheat cent, introduced in 1909, commemorated the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the man who preserved the Union. The obverse of the coin features a profile of Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty" to the left, the date 1945 on the right. The reverse shows two wheat ears, framing the words, 1 cent United States of America, e pluribus unum, out of many. One at the top. This classic design ran until 1958 and gave the coin its common nickname, the wheat penny. In 1945, the world stood at a turning point. On May 8th, the Allies declared victory in Europe V-Day. On August 14th, after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan surrendered, ending World War II. Americans rejoiced, but also mourned. Over 400,000 American lives had been lost, and the world was entering a new, uncertain era. Yet amidst this global drama, the U.S. Mint continued its steady work, producing millions of pennies to fuel a booming, reshaped post-war economy. The 1945 wheat penny continued the wartime tradition of using recycled metal from spent ammunition shell casings. Introduced in 1944, this was both symbolic and practical. Reusing war materials showed unity and thrift. It freed copper for other military and industrial needs. The composition, 95% copper, 5% zinc, no tin, making it a unique wartime blend. These are called shell casing cents, and they stand as artifacts of war transformed into peace. Though visually similar to other copper pennies, they often have a slightly lighter golden hue when uncirculated. In 1945, the U.S. Mint struck over 1.5 billion wheat pennies to keep up with an economy in motion and a nation on the move. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, 1,040,515,000 coins. These coins carry no mint mark. Denver Mint D, 266,268,000 coins. San Francisco Mint S, 181,770,000 coins. These coins flowed across all 48 states and overseas, used by soldiers in occupation zones, spent in war-weary cities like London, Paris, and Tokyo, saved by families back home as keepsakes or lucky charms. A child born in 1945 might have received one as their first coin. A veteran might have tucked one away in a pocket returning from war. The 1945 wheat penny wasn't rare in daily life, it was everywhere. People used it to buy a newspaper, to 5-drop into a jukebox, tip a bus driver, add to their victory. Garden donation jars in circulated condition. Most 1945 pennies show worn wheat stalks, flattened Lincoln features, toned or brown surfaces, occasionally green patina due to copper oxidation. Despite their commonness, each one tells a different story of mid-century America, story of transformation, rebuilding, and optimism. Though billions were minted, mint state uncirculated examples are much rarer today. These coins were never used in commerce, retain full mint luster, and sharp strike details are graded on a 70-point Sheldon scale. Color grades make a difference. Red Road, full original copper color, most valuable. Red Brown RB, partially toned brown BN, fully toned, most common but still collectible. Typical market value as of recent years: MS63 red, $5 to $10. MS65 red, $20 to $50. MS66 plus red can exceed $100 plus. Especially Denver or San Francisco coins with exceptional eye appeal. Uncirculated 1945s or 1945D wheat cents, with strong strikes and brilliant red color, are prized additions in collector albums. Most 1945 cents are straightforward, but some notable era varieties exist, especially common on 1945S and 1945D coins. Doubled die obverse DDO, rare. Look for doubling in the date or Liberty die cracks, off-center strikes, and lamination errors. Collectible oddities. These varieties can range from $5 to several $100s, depending on rarity and condition. The 1945 Liberty wheat penny is not just a cent, it's a cultural time capsule. It represents the final year of the world's deadliest conflict, the resilience of American industry, the beginning of a new era, the post-war boom, the GI Bill, the baby boom, and the Cold War. Many Americans kept their 1945 pennies in drawers or albums, marking a personal connection to the year the world changed forever. The 1945 wheat penny is more than copper. It's memory, history, and hope pressed into a tiny disc passed from hand to hand. It was forged in the shadow of war but meant to serve a peaceful future. And though it's just 1 cent, it carried the weight of a world learning to live. Again, would you like this turned into a video storyboard, printable coin guide, or podcast script? I can also provide collector checklists.